Wrydeer, Serperior, and Ceruledge was one game away from top cutting the first European regional in Pokemon Champions. We're going to be trying out an interesting team and seeing how well it can perform. This is another Jamie Boyt team. If you know who Jamie Boyt is, you already know that it is already going to be a wacky team, which is going to be far from conventional. So first Pokemon up we're going to analyze is going to be Wrydeer, which is actually a pretty interesting Pokemon in this regulation. Normal Psychic type is actually pretty decent, mainly because having any normal type means you are immune to Last Respects or any Ghost type moves, which is pretty valuable against like a Scarf Basket Legion endgame, because if Wrydeer is still around, they can't exactly haphazardly lock into the Last Respect or they would lose to the Wrydeer. So it's actually pretty good. Intimidate, one of the few Pokemon that gets access to Intimidate, of course, in this is pretty solid as well. We have this moveset here with Side Shield Bash, Gravity, Hypnosis, and Trick Room. Side Shield Bash is definitely a very interesting signature move that Wrydeer does get access to, because it does increase the defense stat of the Wrydeer by 1 stage every single time. It's guaranteed. Unfortunately, the accuracy isn't guaranteed. However, it is still a pretty decent strong hitting move, and it can be useful to remove the Sneaslers in this format, which is pretty important. Then you have Gravity and Hypnosis. Of course, Gravity just able to lower the evasion of the Pokemon by -2. That means that moves have a higher chance to land into these Pokemon, like the Hypnosis, which is going to land under the Gravity and make them put to sleep, which can be very valuable to stall out turns so your other Pokemon can set up, and Trick Room as the speed control. This EV spread on the Wrydeer does allow you to have a good amount of bulk to be able to survive stuff like the Weather Balls from Charizard, a boosted Black Glasses Kowtow Cleave from King Gambit, and still do a decent amount with the Side Shield Bash while having some speed in order to be able to outspeed Whimsicott after a Glare is set up onto the Whimsicott. Next Pokemon is Serperior, which actually has one of the fastest speed stats in Pokemon Champions. It's not in the 110 or 120 speed tiers, but it is still faster than a lot of the base 100s, which is the important part. This Serperior is rocking the Citrus Berry for 25% recovery, which is nice, and then the Contrary ability, a really great ability because it means any stat changes from the Serperior are inversed. So that means if it gets dropped by anything, like the special attack drops after a Leaf Storm, it actually will convert into a special attack rise instead by the amount of stages it would have been dropped or risen initially. So that's actually pretty nice. It means after Intimidate, you get +1 attack. If we were running physical Serperior set, that would be nice. But more importantly, again, the Leaf Storm drops. It can also affect like Moonblast special attack drops. Lumina Crash turns from -2 special defense to +2 special defense, so it can be a pretty disruptive ability. Leaf Storm, of course, a really strong grass type move that can boost the special attack of the Serperior by 2 stages because of the Contrary ability. Reflect and Light Screen, just having dual screens to allow your Pokemon to be able to set up more comfortably. And then we have Glare, which is interesting speed control because it's able to half the speed of your opponent by saying that paralysis and of course a chance to move, but really it's just that speed control that is guaranteed consistency because it is 100% accurate, which is pretty nice, and it just doesn't affect electric types, but there aren't that many electric types in this format, so very solid there. E-spread wise on the Serperior, you want to have max HP. This one's supposed to be a bulky screen set, and the Serperior doesn't really do that much damage. Base 75 special attack and attack isn't that great, so you don't really need to invest too much because it's not like Serperior is getting knockouts. The more ideal part is that it's faster than a lot of things. This one is going to be faster than like the Adamant Sneaslers, the Jolly Garchomps, as well as the Timid Eternal Floette. Outspeed them, set up the screen before they can attack, and that's going to be the important part. And then of course Glare, so it can help with the speed control for the rest of the team, and that is going to be the case here. Next Pokemon on this team is going to be the Charcoal Ceruledge, powering up its fire type moves. Flash Fire ability does allow the Ceruledge to absorb any fire type attacks, not take any damage from it, and then power up its own fire type moves in response. So that's really powerful, especially with Bitter Blade, which is a strong fire type move, which also gives you recovery, which is very nice. And then Shadow Sneak, a priority ghost type move. The Bulk Up, which increases the attack and defense by 1 stage, and then of course Protect to keep itself around. The EV spread on the Ceruledge does allow you to be able to just take a lot of attacks, and you might be thinking, why have so much defense when you're running Bulk Up and minimal attack instead? Shouldn't it be the other way around usually? Well, Ceruledge still kind of struggles with taking hits in general. There are few things that can be pretty annoying, especially with how heavy the physical attack damage output is, especially from like Basket Legion as well as the King Gambit. So with the combination of screens plus a bulk up, you're able to survive attacks, and then with the Charcoal, it kind of boosts up the power of the Bitter Blade, so you can get the recovery while still doing a pretty impressive amount of damage even without that much investment. And the initial Ceruledge can be able to take, for instance, a Black Glasses Sucker Punch or a Kowtow Cleave, even if no screens or a boost here. So that can be really nice. And then the speed does allow the Ceruledge to be able to outspeed stuff like the Mega Aerodactyl and speed creep that by +1. So this Ceruledge is just ideally tries out the bulk ups and then recovering with Bitter Blade while having that priority Shadow Sneak as a threat. Really great into Pokemon like the Charizard Y that isn't able to really damage it unless they run the really rare Ancient Power, or the Sneasers that can't really hit the Ceruledge usually. Next Pokemon we have is going to be a very interesting Leftovers Milotic set, which gives a recovery competitive ability, gives a +2 special attack boost every time the Milotic stat gets dropped by an opponent, and has access to a pretty standard set of Muddy Water, Hypnosis, and Coil, but running a Life Dew over the Recover. So you have Life Dew so you can heal your ally as well as yourself by 25% instead of just Milotic having 50% recovery. Hypnosis with Coil is super strong. Boosting the defense on the Milotic makes it really hard to stop, especially with screen support from the Serperior as well as the defense boost as well. Just really annoying to remove. Hypnosis, of course, once you have that Coil to boost your accuracy, the Hypnosis become more accurate, and then you also have the Wrydeer Gravity, which can allow the Milotic to be able to hit accurate Hypnosis, which is really nice. EV spread, pretty simple. It's just going to be near max HP, near max defense pretty much, just to be able to take those physical hits extremely well because it already has a super high special defense. You're running a boosting nature so that you are able to get that 10% boost from a nature, and then running Sassy, which is kind of interesting, even one speed point, but it just means that your Wrydeer and your Milotic aren't exactly like in a weird position for speed tying, but it can be useful under Trick Room in some cases against specific mons. So just still being able to outspeed like a decent amount of Incineroars before like Trick Room is up, and then afterwards you do have it that can underspeed stuff under the Trick Room. Next Pokemon we have is going to be a very interesting Dragon Fang Como, boosting the power of its Dragon type moves. Bulletproof is its ability of choice here, which means it's immune to a few different moves. Think of Weather Ball from Charizard, think of Sludge Bomb and Shadow Ball from Gengars and more. So it has a few moves that it can block, which is very niche, but that is the Como that is designed for, not going for the standard soundproof that we commonly see on Como. We have Clanging Scales, a powerful Dragon type move. Clanging Soul to boost its stats by 1 at this cost of 33% of the Como's HP, as well as Protect. And then Drain Punch over Aura Spear. Really interesting choice, but because you don't have recovery, I suppose, you need some form of to be able to heal. So the Como going to be running that Drain Punch instead. And this one's also running a Naive Nature because it is a mixed variant. So sacrifice its special defense at the cost of being able to rise its speed and keep both its offensive stats still intact, because utilizing damage for the Drain Punch as well as the Clanging Scales with the special attack, but mostly invested into speed. And special attack running Naive on the Como allows you to outspeed stuff like the Mega Aerodactyl, Mega Delphox, as well as Choice Scarf Basket Legion guaranteed after 1 Clanger Soul, and then just be able to hit pretty hard with the Clanging Scales. And then I guess you do have, you know, a bit of damage you can do with the Drain Punch. I don't know if the 3 attack is that big of a difference, as I don't think there were any specific calcs that I saw that was hugely impactful, but the Como is a decently frail one. But again, support with the screens with the Serperior is kind of the goal here. Final Pokemon on this team is going to be the Mega Evolution choice, going to be the Eternal Floette, a pretty common Mega Evolution choice for a lot of players, as it's really strong, especially getting access to the Fairy Aura, which powers up the Fairy type moves after it Mega Evolves, and pretty strong afterward. Moonblast and Dazzling Gleam, very powerful Fairy type moves, especially after Calm Mind boost, which is able to boost the Floette's special attack and special defense by 1 stage, Protect to keep itself around. So the EV spread is definitely an interesting choice. It allows you to be able to survive Dire Claw from Adamant Sneasler, sometimes Iron Head from the Kingambits, and then also the speed allows you to be able to outspeed any of the modest Charizards, Adamant Garchomps, and modest Eternal Floettes. So speed creeping though, so you can get a faster Calm Mind, so you can get the boost before they get the attack off, can be pretty important, or getting the damage, which can be solid. But you do have screens, I suppose, and you're going to be trying to get multiple Calm Minds with this Floette in order to be able to enable the damage output. So how to use the team? Well, a lot about this team is trying to set up your sweepers to dish out a ton of damage and run away with the game. So how do you end up setting up these Pokemon? Well, the main one I would say is going to be setting up screens with Serperior, just reducing the damage output of your opponents and allow the Pokemon on your side of the field to be able to actually utilize the stat boosting moves, such as the bulk up, the Clanger Soul, the Calm Mind, and of course the Coil. So I'd say Serperior is probably one of the best ones. If you do get both screens up, then you can start going for Glare for speed control, which can be helpful because it does allow the slower Pokemon on your side of the field to be able to take advantage and outspeed the opponent's side, which is really solid. Then you also have access to Serperior plus like just lead wise in general. Ceruledge is probably like one of my favorite leads probably with the team because Ceruledge just puts on a lot of pressure immediately. You can also go with Serperior plus the Float as well, which I would say is pretty solid. The more niche ones I think would probably be Serperior plus any of the other three with Como, Milotic, Wrydeer. Still possible, but definitely I think Ceruledge plus Float definitely want the initial boost to run away with the game immediately. Then usually Wrydeer lead can be a thing. I usually like to keep in the back because if you do face a Kingambit, one of the most popular Pokemon in the format, can be a little bit weird to give it a Defiant boost. But you do have access to like Wrydeer plus Milotic. You can go for Gravity plus Hypnosis immediately because the Wrydeer is faster than Milotic. So you can go for that Gravity Hypnosis combination immediately. Just put them to sleep and then try to set up one of your setup mons in the back, which can be solid. And that's another combination you can go for. But otherwise, I would say Serperior lead is probably going to be the case most of the time. Or you could lead something like Milotic with the competitive to lead it with like the Ceruledge or the Float and just try to set up both of them at the same time. Have your opponent choose, and then once one of them is set up, then you could try to go for another setup with like a Ceruledge hidden in the back or a Float hidden in the back, and then start going for Hypnosis. Definitely an option you do have. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. But otherwise, let us try out another crazy team built by Jamie Boyt and see how well it goes. All right, we have Whimsicott, Basculegion, a Garchomp, Eternal Float, Charizard, and Kingambit. How do I want to approach this matchup? We do have Charizard and Whimsicott, which of course are going to be not that threatening to my Ceruledge, but Como... Como's really good against the Kingambit, but otherwise it's not amazing here. I'm trying to think of what my best options are. This is definitely always... It's just always interesting because most of the matchups, you're not exactly sure how it's going to play out. I could lead Wrydeer, but if I lead Wrydeer, I get absolutely screwed by the Kingambit, especially since I probably don't plan on bringing Como in this matchup against Double Fairy. Let's see... Maybe it's Serperior Ceruledge. Serperior Ceruledge doesn't sound bad to me. Get the screen up, set up a bulk up with Ceruledge. Should be probably pretty good. And Serperior is pretty good into the Garchomp as well as the Basculegion, which are probably the most annoying Pokemon to deal with overall. And in the back, I'm thinking maybe a Wrydeer because I need a Last Respect switch in. And Trick Room is pretty nice against this team in general. And then I think I bring the Float as the final Pokemon. Milotic doesn't really put on any offensive pressure against this team, especially with the sun up. So I don't think it's really that great of a bring here. Let's see what we can do against this team. But we will try our best. We're going to try to set up the Ceruledge, but we'll see. Whimsicott Float is an interesting lead. Okay. Whimsicott Float versus Ceruledge plus the Serperior. Okay. Unfortunately, I do not have any switches into these fairy type attacks. So this could be like Tailwind, Light of Ruin. If they do that though, I could always just go for a Bitter Blade into the Float, which isn't terrible for me because I don't want to go for a bulk up and then get encored. So I think my best play here is probably just to go for the Bitter Blade into the Float and probably just attempt to set a light screen. They have to go for Light of Ruin to specifically KO the Serperior. Granted, they could go for like double Moonblast, but I'd at least get the Light Screen up at that point. So I think that's a pretty okay trade. I'm going to go for Light Screen plus Bitter Blade into the Float. If we trade Serperior here for the Float or like a lot of HP on the Float, because I imagine Bitter Blade either KOs after the Light of Ruin damage with the recoil or Shadow Sneak range at least, that will be good for me. They do go for the Tailwind, so I imagine this is going to be Light of Ruin, but we'll find out. No, they actually go for a Moonblast. That shouldn't knock me out. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I do get screen up. They get a special attack drop, which means I get a raise because of Contrary, and the Citrus Berry is going to activate on Serperior. And now I get a light screen up, which is fantastic here, as well as a Bitter Blade off into the Eternal Float, which is going to do some pretty good damage, I'd say. Yeah, that's some pretty good damage. Okay, that's not a bad trade-off here. The light screen is definitely super valuable. They could probably Encore me, which is probably what they're going to try to do. The question is, do I think Serperior has enough value to be kept around, or should I just decide, hey, it's not worth keeping the Serperior around? I think it's not worth keeping the Serperior around, realistically. So I think my best play here is probably just a Bitter Blade the Whimsicott and probably just go for a Reflect here. If they decide to Encore, that's fine. They actually retreat the Flood, so this could be Basculegion or Garchomp. It is going to be Basculegion, so that's fine. This is probably Encore in the Serperior then. I'm okay with that. That's like completely fine by me. Okay. I don't mind that because I do get a Bitter Blade off into Whimsicott, which is a pretty good trade for me here, as I am able to put the Whimsicott, I imagine, the Focus Sash range, and then I think I should be able to get a nice switch in to my Wrydeer. So Wrydeer will be able to get Intimidate off into the Basculegion slot, which is nice, and then I can play around this line here. So I am going to go for Protect with my Ceruledge, because I don't want to go down to Wave Crash. And we are going to bring out the Wrydeer. This could be like Moonblast into the Serperior slot and Wave Crash. This could be double up. Oh, we're going to see a swap. Is this King Gambit? Ooh, good play on their part. Okay, they brought out King Gambit. Super smart play on their part. They didn't bring actually any Mega Evolution, but I guess they didn't want to rely on Charizard. Really smart play on my opponent's end, though. We do get Intimidate off as the Defiance going to activate. Did they Wave Crash the Serperior slot or did they go for the Ceruledge? I imagine you still target the Ceruledge. Yeah, okay. So that's one positive at least, but not exactly the greatest position here still. I mean, this is the last turn of Tailwind. Yes, I don't have to Trick Room here, I suppose. I could always just like sack the Serperior here to the Wave Crash, which is fine, I suppose. Do I want to go for Blind Hypnosis? I could just set up a Gravity and then try to go for a Trick Room afterward. I think that's probably reasonable. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Gravity. I'm going to go for Gravity and then try to Hypnosis stuff. I think that's probably better. I always keep Ceruledge around because it's good against the Floette and the Whimsicott. Also, yeah, there was no Charizard since they let Floette. A Wave Crash going to come out, so it's probably Wave Crash Kowtow, which is fine. Serperior is able to hang on. We don't know the item on the basket. It could be Scarf, maybe it's not. We're going to see a Kowtow Cleave into my Wrydeer. Even at +1, I should survive. I assume I do. Yeah, not helpfully, but I do survive. Okay. As we do get a Gravity setup with Wrydeer. I think the big question is, are you Scarf Bask? I feel like they don't run Scarf Bask as commonly on these builds. Well, you never know. This could be like a Sucker Punch threat into the Serperior as well as a Wave Crash and a Wrydeer. I kind of like the idea of going for Glare. I think I'll live an Aqua Jet from Bask and I can get a Hypnosis off into Gambit so I can buy turns for my Eternal Floette. That's like my thought process here. So we're going to go for Hypnosis and we're going to go for Glare into Bask because it kind of covers a few plays other than if this is Scarf. Yeah, we are going to see Sucker Punch into the Serperior. Nice, which is fantastic. I do get a Glare off, which means since it's not Scarf Bask, it's going to be slower than my Wrydeer after the Paralysis. And that means I do get a Hypnosis off into the King Gambit before it can actually go for like a Kowtow the next turn because it's already used. It didn't take a turn of sleep yet. And we see the Wave Crash, which is fantastic for me as well. So this is a super ideal position, I'd say. And now I can go out. Do I want to believe Serperior knocks out the Basculegion? I could go Floette or I could go Ceruledge. I think my play is always to go Ceruledge here. Is it to go Ceruledge or is it to go Floette? Because Floette doesn't KO anything. I could Reflect Moonblast twice, which is not a terrible plan. You know what? Let's go Floette. Let's go into Floette. Get a Reflect up. I like the idea of getting a Reflect up, and I go for a Moonblast into the Gambit. Even if they, like, let's say, swap out the Basculegion, try to sack maybe a Whimsicott, that's completely fine. Because I really like the idea of just getting this Reflect up for the rest of the game, because it means these Pokemon are definitely not threatening nearly as much damage as they were planning to. So I think this is a pretty alright position. It's not amazing, but it's still playable. As long as my Ceruledge can survive attacks, I think we're good here, but let's see. Fairy Aura, we get a Reflect up. So we'll definitely live any Wave Crash or they decide to Last Respect, but I think they're always going to go for Wave Crash attempt. We're going to see the Moonblast into the King Gambit. Oh, that doesn't two-shot, which is kind of annoying. They stay asleep. Wave Crash into the Flood, okay? But as you can see, it doesn't really do that much damage. All right. Well, now we're going to try to get rid of these Pokemon here. So I think I'm going to always Leaf Storm. Did I Leaf Storm the Bask? I think Leaf Storm can KO the Bask after that recoil range. So I think I might as well just go for the Bask slot. And I am going to go for a Moonblast into the Gambit. The Gambit, we could be playing some mind games. Luckily, we get another turn of sleep, which is very fortunate, as we do get a Leaf Storm off into the Basque, which does pick up the knockout. So we do get rid of Basque, which is huge. Okay, perfect. We also get a special attack boost, and now we get a Moonblast off into King Gambit. So hopefully we low rolled last time, but I assume we're going to miss a KO. Yeah, we barely missed a KO. Unfortunately, that's not Shadow Sneak range. I was hoping for like a few more percent for Shadow Sneak range. Now the Gambit's guaranteed to wake up. They can probably go on a Whimsicott. If they go out in a Flood, I can always just glare to Flood and Dazzling Gleam, so that's never a play that they should go for. I think they're forced to go Whimsicott and click Tailwind here. But I guess the question is, how fast is their Gambit? Because if their Gambit's not fast, they do also lose here as well. So we're going to go for a Glare. We're going to go for Glare actually into the King Gambit slot, and we're going to go for Dazzling Gleam. The reason is, I don't know if the Gambit's actually going to be faster than my Serperior after Tailwind is set up. I might as well just go for the Glare because it also avoids a Sucker Punch play from the King Gambit slot. And if they protect, okay, they protect here. Okay, that's interesting. They do wake up. They Sucker Punch a Float, okay. So I think they're trying to put me in Dazzling Gleam range. That makes sense. We do get a Glare off into the King Gambit, as we do get a Dazzling Gleam here. Oh, gonna be... This endgame is very fascinating. We do get the KO on King Gambit. The question is, does Ceruledge clutch up? I think Ceruledge does clutch up, but I think my opponent can win the end. Gravity returns to normal. All right. I guess I should have just light screened, but I wasn't 100% certain. I didn't think they would protect Whimsicott, but all right, Floa coming in. This is Dazzling Gleam 100%. There's no screen up for our side. Well, we reflect, but it doesn't really matter. They always Tailwind Dazzling Gleam here. There's like no other play they have. Can Float live Dazzling Gleam? It is spread Dazzling Gleam after all. There is a chance it does, but my best play here is just to go for a Leaf Storm and protect the Float anyway. Though, I think I just protect and Leaf Storm. Actually, I should have Leaf Stormed the Whimsicott. Leaf Storming the Float was... Actually, maybe I could have just Light Screen. Maybe Light Screen was better. I'm trying to sack my Serperior here to get a free switch into my Ceruledge so I can go for Bitter Blades. They do go for Dazzling Gleam, which makes sense. Okay. So Serperior goes down. I think this could be some calls coming up, but even then, I still think I'm fine. I go into Ceruledge. I click Bitter Blade into the Floet. What if Floet protects? Then Whimsicott Moonblast kills the Floet. I still think Ceruledge lives a double up afterwards, so I should still be fine then. I think I'm okay. I think I still Bitter Blade and Dazzling Gleam here. If Float lives a Dazzling Gleam, we 100% guarantee to win. Maybe I should have Shadow Sneak the Wimp. But here's the thing. I also have a play of Shadow Sneaking the Whimsicott. So they can't exactly just go for a Moonblast, but I guess it's kind of a call here, depending on like what they raid. I don't think Light of Ruin Moonblast KOs Ceruledge, but these are some pretty broken fairies. Oh, they protect Whimsicott to scout for the Shadow Sneak. Nice. Okay, I win the game 100% then. Okay, Float did go down to Dazzling Gleam. I wasn't sure since that was a bulkier set, and I didn't know if they were Timid or Moz. I'd assume it's Modest, but sometimes they run Timid on the team. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Bitter Blade would have been enough to heal back from the Flood. I think I also would have lived Light of Ruin plus Moonblast just barely, and then I could go for Bitter Blade, get the recovery on Flood, and then Shadow Sneak the Whimsicott afterwards. So I felt like I was fine, but yeah, a little bit of a close one, but you know what? We did take it well, I think. We did have to get lucky against the Gambit a little bit with the Hypnosis sleep turns, but you know what? My opponent did play well and positioned again pretty solidly, so I had to do what I had to do. All right, we have Eternal Floet, Charizard, Basque Legion, Whimsicott, Garchomp, and Archalon. So it's only an Archalon over a Gambit, which does make things a lot easier on my side, I'll tell you that much. Does make things a lot easier. I could actually lead Wrydeer this time if I really, really want to. I think my play though is still pretty reasonable, just leading Ceruledge plus Serperior. I don't think that it was anything bad here. I guess the thing is I don't have to bring the Float this time because Float might not be as necessary. Yeah, it's still pretty decent, especially since it could be Sturdy Archaludon on this team. I do like Ceruledge Serperior as the most part of the lead, because if I lead anything else into like Charizard, it could get a little bit dangerous. So I feel like I do want Screen Up. I guess the question is, do I even want Como in this matchup? Because Como could put in work, I suppose. It's not really like that necessary though. I think I just go with Serperior Ceruledge. I think it's pretty simple. Like, it's generally a pretty good lead for the most part. I still like it. I want to bring Wrydeer for the Tricker mode. It's also good into the Basque part of the equation. And then Final Mon, I guess I'm going to bring the Floette. I'm not like the biggest fan of Floette here, but Como, the problem with Como is the Whimsicott. Whimsicott's just way too annoying. And they also do have the Floette still, so Double Fairy is not exactly pleasant. And then Milotic just doesn't really do much, I feel. Like, it doesn't really do much against this team. So we're going to see Whimsicott, Basque Legion, which is a fine lead for me. This actually works out pretty well because I do lead Ceruledge plus the Serperior. And I could just go for, let's say, a Leaf Storm plus a swap to Wrydeer, which I think is my best play here. I could go for Reflect immediately. I could go for Light Screen, but of course they could go for a Encore the next turn. And if I'm going to get anything up, I think it's just damage in the Basque. So I think I might as well just Leaf Storm the Basque and switch to Wrydeer. Even if they switch out a Charizard, I could always switch out the Serperior into the Ceruledge the next turn. So that's why I like hard switching the Ceruledge this turn, because then I'll have the option to reposition the following turn. While if, like, let's say Bass switches out a Charizard and I stay in and protect, then there's an Encore pressure threat as well as a Charizard just Heat Wave, which is not good for me. So that's why I want to hard switch immediately into this slot. We're going to see the swap from the Basque into the Charizard. So they brought the Charizard this time, which makes sense here, as they do go for Talon. So I would have preferred a Light Screen here, obviously, but I don't think this is too bad of a trade here, as we do get some damage off in the Charizard, I suppose, which isn't terrible. I guess the question is, do I expect him to Weather Ball Moonblast double up, or is this a Heat Wave coming up? So I'm going on in a Ceruledge for sure. The question is into which slot. I think we always want to keep Serperior around for the Basque, as well as the potential Chomp in the back, since it's probably not Floette in the back. So we're going to go for a Trick Room. But the thing is, they should know that Trick Room's really something that they don't want up. So I could go for a Light Screen switch here. You know what? I'm going to go for a Light Screen switch. I feel like they can't risk Wrydeer getting Trick Room up. So I feel like they all, and like Ceruledge coming in for the Serperior. So I think they go for Moonblast plus Weather Ball. I think they went for Heat Wave instead and let me get the Trick Room up. Oh, that's frustrating. That's frustrating. Okay. Ceruledge in. They do get the Charizard Mega Evolution. Is this Heat Wave or Weather Ball? Ideally Weather Ball, but something tells me this is going to be Heat Wave. Something just tells me this is going to be Heat Wave. They did Weather Ball, so I did get to play right. Okay. All right, you know what? We take it. Okay. But Weather Ball, I don't think KO's Wrydeer, so I'm really shocked they didn't just go for the double attack there. But I mean, you know what? We take it. All right. This is still kind of a weird spot, but granted, it's definitely nice. We do know all 4 Pokemon now. I need to get an Intimidate off into the Garchomp, or Ceruledge is just not having a fun time. We do have Flash Fire Boost, which is really good. In Sun, these Bitter Blades are really going to hurt, especially with the Charcoal. If we get rid of the Charizard, they have a really tough time against Serperior. So my play is to probably go Wrydeer. And the question is, do we want a Bitter Blade or do we want to bulk up here? I think bulk up is pretty reasonable. I think I'm willing to risk my Floette later on in the game as well. So, you know what? We're going to go into Wrydeer, get the Intimidate off into the Garchomp. We have a lot of defense on the Ceruledge too. So I imagine the Earthquake is going to do a decent chunk, but it definitely shouldn't KO me. Oh, nowhere near close. Okay, perfect. And then this is Weather Ball into Wrydeer. Yeah, that's fine. I actually think this is a really good spot because +1 Ceruledge is looking really, really strong here. We get the Intimidate drop. We lived the Weather Ball because of the Light Screen from earlier. And now I'm definitely going to swap out into Floette. I don't really need my Floette for this game, so I think I'm just going to go for Bitter Blade into Charizard. Get some recovery. So now I feel like I'm in a really good spot because Ceruledge is looking really nice. And I do want to keep the Wrydeer so I don't get destroyed by Last Respect endgame. They go for Earthquake, which is fine because we're +1 defense, plus that Intimidate from earlier. So we are eating this up. Nice. And we'll live a Solar Beam because of the Light Screen. Yeah, I think they went for Solar Beam into Ceruledge, which makes sense. Perfect. I actually don't even know if Earthquake would have KO'd the slot, but sure. Yeah, we live perfect. So getting some really good calls here as we do get Bitter Blade. This should do a lot of damage. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Okay, really nice damage. Ceruledge gets to heal. Tailwind peters out, so now I can threaten a Moonblast here into the Garchomp for some probably really solid damage. I could also go for Dazzling Gleam here too. I like the idea of just Moonblasting though, the Garchomp, and probably just protecting Ceruledge. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. They can't really swap out the Charizard or anything. I guess they could switch on to Whimsicott, but I just really don't think he would give me the damage in the Whimsicott. I'm pretty sure this is just going to be Earthquake plus Weather Ball again, which is fine. Or maybe Earthquake Solar Beam again, so that's fine. I think Floa can survive both because we have good defense investment plus the Light Screen still. Charizard protects, which is super ideal for me actually. That's really good. Because I get to protect Ceruledge, I get a Moonblast off. Even if this is Roselli Berry, I feel like I'm in a pretty happy spot here. As they do go for the attacks here. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, Floette eats. And here is a Moonblast and a Chomp. Doesn't look like Roselli Berry, so I should get the KO here. Beautiful. All right, Garchomp down, which is a really nice one. Oh, I get a crit. That could matter. I mean, it is Fairy Aura Moonblast, but I have like no special attack investment. But you know what? Like if Chomp survived, I actually wouldn't have minded because then I could just go for Gleam. Bask is going to come out. Here's where it gets a bit spooky. But I really don't mind this because I feel like the play here is just to get a Dazzling Gleam off. And a Shadow Sneak into the Bask. Because Shadow Sneak is going to do a lot to Basky Legion. And they're going to swap out the Charizard, which makes sense, into the Whimsicott because they can't really go down to a 2v3 or 2v4 setting. So Shadow Sneak going to come out in the Bask. Really good damage. I don't know if Gleam KOs there. That's the only problem. All right, it's not Scarf Bask. Good to know. Gleam KOs the Bask. I win the game because Ceruledge just wins at this point. Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, really, really good showcasing there. Was just able to really utilize. I mean, we were still in dangerous spots. A lot of the plays I felt like did make a lot of sense to me, especially the Weather Ball. Like, I didn't think they were going to Heat Wave, but you know what, we'd take it. All right, we're going to see Gardevoir, Maushold, Incineroar, Pelipper, Archaludon, and Skarmory. This is not a great matchup. Yeah, Skarmory seems pretty demonic here. Oh boy. There is a lot that could go wrong here. You know what's funny? If it's Trace Gardevoir, I could lead Wrydeer or Milotic, and if they trade... Well, here's the thing. If they trace competitive, it'd be really bad. If they trace Intimidate, it's good for me, but I don't think that's worth the trade-off here. Archaludon beats the Milo, so... Yeah, this is going to be really tough, because I can't really bring Como into this, which is, like, the best answer to Archaludon on this team, other than Float, I suppose. The Skarmory is just so problematic. And I mean so problematic here. Yeah, this is going to be tough. I think I just try out Serperior lead with Milo because the only thing that really removes Serperior immediately is going to be the Skarmory. And if it's Skarmory, then I have the Milotic out at the very least. I think I bring the Floette plus the Wrydeer in the back and then try to set up a Floette endgame. I think I need Wrydeer for Intimidate here. Probably some Gravity Hypnosis stuff is probably going to have to happen. Ceruledge is only good into Gardevoir. It's not really great into anything else. And it's also just hard to break through Gardevoir if that's the case. I don't know if Gardevoir is even going to come. Maybe it's just Skarmory. But hey, maybe they bring the Gardevoir anyway, which would probably be easier for my Serperior mode, but we'll see. Okay, they do lead Gardevoir Maushold. So this isn't awful, but it's not ideal. All right. They trace Contrary, which is good for me. If they trace Competitive, it was actually kind of annoying, but I guess this isn't too bad. I can go for a Light Screen setup immediately, and we can go for... Do we want Hypnosis? Do we want to go for Muddy Water immediately? The Maushold could have Encore, so I don't think I ever want to go for Coil. I think we just get damage here, realistically. We just need to build up damage against these mons, because right now we're having a very problem time of just removing them. It looks like Mono Skarmory in the back at the very least, which is good for me. Because there's no Skarmory, that means Floette can actually do stuff. Okay, they go for Super Fang, which is fine because I do eat Citrus Berry. All right. As I am able to set up a light screen. And Muddy Water. Should be Sash on the mouse hold. Hyper Voice does some decent damage. Muddy Water comes out, okay. I wonder if they let me glare to Gardevoir. Double accuracy drop is crazy, but you know what? We are going to need some luck in this game, so we will gladly take it. Do we go for Leaf Storm damage, or are we going to go for Glare? I wouldn't mind going for Glare. Yeah, I think we go for Glare here. I think we Glare to Gardevoir and we just spam Muddy Water again. They go for Super Fang, so they're going to take the knockout in Serperior, which is fine. I really don't mind this because we get the paralysis off into the Gardevoir for speed control, and now not a terrible spot here as we get a Muddy Water here. And Hyper Voice. Ooh, a dodge on my low tick. Okay, but not Serperior. So Serperior goes down, which I don't mind. Because again, we're trying to build up things for the Floette end game. We are going to go into Floette here. Unfortunately, I don't think I can really click Protect. Can I click Calm Mind here? The question is, do they have Encore? We know it's Super Fang, so I don't think it's the faint one. I could go for the KO here with Dazzling Gleam Muddy Water, which isn't awful. If they go for Super Fang, it might be better to click Life Dew, however. You know what? Let's go for a Mega Evolution. Let's go for a Dazzle here. Actually, I should Moonblast. I should Moonblast a guard. Go for Moonblast and then Life Dew. Yeah, I like that actually. Because if they Super Fang, I get the recovery onto both Pokemon. Even if I'm taking a pretty powerful Hyper Voice, then next turn I can go for like Gleam Muddy Water and remove both, which I think is probably better. Okay, let's see. Oh, well, they Super Fanged. So, I mean, I would have gotten the Life Dew, but granted, it's not like we're complaining about that. We do get a Moonblast off into the Gardevoir for some pretty good damage. Okay, awesome. We did Life Dew attempt. How much is this Hyper Voice doing? That's the question. Because I do have bulk, but let's see. Hyper Voice, they do hit both. Yeah, it wasn't like crazy damage, so I'm okay with this. I can score a double knockout now. The question is, do I want to get the double knockout? I guess they could follow me here because I don't know if they'll let the Gardevoir want to go down here. I could go for Protect Life Dew, but again, we don't know if this is Encore on the mouse. I think we just go for Dazzling Gleam Muddy Water here. Yeah. The problem is Arch is going to be really problematic in the back. It's playable, but it's like still really rough. Oh, they protect Gardevoir. Could have got a Life Dew. I still don't think this is too bad though, because if the Gardevoir's not accomplishing much, okay, double Super Fang miss. Dazzling Gleam. Do I KO the mouse? I do KO the mouse. Okay. So my plan was technically right, but I mean, I would have had a pretty low Floette, which is the annoying part. I guess on the bright side, they shouldn't be able to knock out my Floette here. Because they either have to go Arch or they have to go Pelipper here. They go Arch first. Okay. What's nice about the Super Fang misses is I don't think Floette goes down to an attack here. Are they going to go for Electroshock, switch to Pelipper? I think so. That would be the play I would assume is likely here. I kind of want to just go for Calm Mind and Life Dew. Yeah, I'm going to go for Calm Mind, Life Dew. Because they can't Electroshock. Okay, if they Protect, that's amazing for me, actually. Because I just get a free Calm Mind here, which is fantastic. Alright, that's actually really huge because now... Because I'm going for this play because I'm healthy enough with the Floette now. So I can now get Life Dew recovery as well as the Calm Mind boost. So I would have taken Flash Cannon, I would have taken Hyper Voice. And with the recovery, I think I would have lived both attacks if they did decide to attack you. Oh, they go for Trick Room, which is interesting. Okay. Which is actually good for my Milotic. Because I can spam Hypnosis. Light Screamer is off now. I have two plays I can make. I could go for Hypnosis into Arch, or I could go for Life Dew here. I think Life Dew is pretty fine though. Like it's reasonably fine. I think I'm just gonna go for Dazzling Gleam and I'm gonna go for Life Dew. Because they'd get the Hyper Voice off first and then the Flash Cannon. So I think I might as well just go for a Life Dew here. Plus a... Okay, I mean, they get paralyzed. Again, I'm going for the Life Dew play because I think it made the most sense. I think I would have allowed Float to easily live the next combo hit. So we'll take it as they go for Flash Cannon. This shouldn't do too much. Yeah, I didn't think it was. Dazzling Gleam should get the KO on both. Or a KO onto Gardevoir. So nice. Back has to be Pelipper, right? Like it cannot be, it has to be Pelipper. There's like no way it's not Pelipper here. Then next turn I could go for probably Moonblast plus a Life Dew, and yeah, they kind of realized that, so they're gonna forfeit. A bit unlucky for my opponent. I do think there were still odds for me to win, especially with Blind Hypnosis, but you know what? It looks like we don't even need to take those odds. All right, we have Sneasler, Tyranitar, Sinistra, Incineroar, Aegislash, and Eternal Flood. So you want to assume this is probably like Dragon Dance, Mega Tyranitar with Calm Mind, Eternal Flood mode as well. Which I have to guess which one it is. If it's, I guess this is a game where Como can actually shine here at least. Yeah, this is a game where Como can actually shine here because Como's actually okay into the Tyranitar mode. So the question is, do they bring Flood? I feel like they have to bring Flood. Their team is really, really weak to Como without the Flood mode. I think my elite is just... Is it Serperior Ceruledge? I think Serperior Ceruledge is pretty alright. Yeah, I'm just going to lead Serperior Ceruledge as the lead. I don't really think Milotic's good here as a bring. It's only good into Incineroar. It doesn't really do much otherwise. I think back it's probably Como for a setup because it's good into everything that isn't the Tyranitar or anything that isn't the Float. And Ceruledge is going to be my counter to Float. And I think I bring Wrydeer. Yeah, I think I bring Wrydeer. Because I can intimidate the Tyranitar if it's the case. The Float is still really concerning here. I don't know if my game plan's really amazing in the Float, but we'll see. I also can, of course, Glare the Float, go for a Light Screen. So I do have odds here. We are going to see the Sneasler plus the Float, which is fine, as we lead Ceruledge plus Serperior. I do live a Dire Claw here, so I should be able to get a Glare off, or I could go for a Light Screen. I could also get a Reflect Up, which also isn't terrible here. Depends on the Sneasler EV spread. I think we go for Reflect first, and we go for a Bulk Up. They're going to go for the Mega Evolution immediately. I don't think they're going to go for the offense. I think they're just going to set up Calm Minds like they always do with this team, which is fine by me. I think getting Reflect Up and then go for Light Screen is pretty ideal. Because I'm more worried about the other physical attackers right now. Okay, we do get a Reflect Up. Okay, as expected, Serperior is faster than the Sneasler, and I do get Reflect Up, so Dire Claw is doing less. That's a very interesting Sneasler. It's slower than my Serperior. Huh, okay. Oh, they Dire Claw to Ceruledge immediately. Interesting play. No status, fortunately. I wonder if it's Poison Touch. It might be Poison Touch. No, if you're running that slow of a Sneasler, you're definitely going to be unburdened, I think. All right, let's set up both screens, I guess. We're going to Bulk Up and Light Screen. I don't see a problem with this. Then next turn I can Glare. All right, we get a Light Screen up. So now Ceruledge is definitely eating up the attacks. They go for Moonblast. They're trying to remove the Ceruledge, which makes sense. But I'm just eating up these attacks. Beautiful. Dire Claw into the Serperior, but I am going to be able to tank it. And nice, no status. So Citrus Berry going to activate on the Serperior, and now I can go for Glare plus Bitter Blade. Plus 2 Bitter Blade's going to do a lot of damage. I'm surprised there's no like Incineroar coming in or anything like that of nature. But we go for a Glare, and we go for Bitter Blade. I guess they could protect the Float now, but I'd be kind of surprised if they do. But let's see. Screens are up, which is beautiful. Nice. They go on the offense, so I do get the glare off into the Floette, which means it's going to be chance to be paralyzed throughout the rest of the game, which is huge. Dire Claw going to come out into the Ceruledge, just do no damage. I was going to get status at some point. Poison. I don't think it's terrible. It's not great. Let's see if we KO the Floette or not. Bitter Blade. Oh, it outgoes to Floette. Okay, amazing. I'll take that. You know what? I'll take that. Because that was the main threat I needed to get rid of with my Ceruledge. So, yeah. How are you being Ceruledge now? Did they bring Tyranitar as well? I wouldn't be surprised to see Tyranitar in the back. Aegislash. Okay. I'm just gonna glare the Aegislash, I suppose, and what am I doing with Ceruledge? Protect? Now that I got rid of Floette, like, my Como's looking really good. Do I just protect the Scout for, like, the Aegislash attack? Yeah, I think so. I don't see a problem with going for this play because I don't really need the glare into Sneasler at the moment because it's not really threatening anything. The glare and Aegislash could have some benefits. Dire Claw, KO the Serperior, or not KO the Serperior, okay. And stance change, is this Poltergeist? Yep. Into the Ceruledge, which is fine. Because now I can just glare the Sneasler and just get all this speed drops on my opponent's side. Do I target the Aegislash or do I just target the Sneasler? Because I might live the Poltergeist even. With the Reflect and the +2 defenses, I think I can. I think I'm going to target the Sneasler. Okay, they attacked with Aegislash, but that's fine as well. We do get a glare off in the Sneasler. Let's see if we KO it, because it might be bulky Wider. Because it shouldn't be Sash on this team. Yeah. Because it's not Sash because it was slower than Float, which is a very surprising. You would assume the Sneasler would be max Adam in that case. And they get paralyzed by the glare. Okay, you know what? You know what? We'll take it. But granted, I don't think I really need any of these. I think Como was still really good to potentially just win in the back. Granted, of course, like being the Aegislash could have been a bit annoying, but again, they wouldn't have KO'd the Aegislash or the Ceruledge to Reflect and +2 from bulk up. All right, we have Whimsicott, Floette, Charizard, Garchomp, Basculeech, and Kingambit. I wonder if this is a rematch or if this is just, or if this is just another trainer, because this is one of the most popular teams in the format. There were like 5 of them at Japan Nats, give or take. Okay. So I think my initial game plan was pretty solid. The Kingambit, of course, is always like a question mark, but I do think that... I don't think my plan was bad. So I think I'm going to do Serperior Ceruledge again. Probably just have the Eternal Floette and the Wrydeer in the back. I think so. Because, like, what else could I bring? Como, get into Kingambit, okay in the Basque. Terrible against the fairies. And Milotic just doesn't do anything in this matchup, realistically. I could coil spam, but then I just get blown up by the fairies. As well as the Charizard, potentially. So, yeah, I don't think that's ever to play. Curious if this is a rematch or not, because they know how I would plan out the turn 1. But let's see. Kind of curious, like, what you would lead here. Are you going to lead the double fairies again? We've seen Charizard. No, we saw Basque lead in the other version, but that team also didn't have Kingambit. Are you going to lead Kingambit? If you go Kingambit, I just reflect Bitter Blade immediately, I think. Whim's got Kingambit, okay. I mean, I think I live a Kowtow. I don't know if this is Black Glasses or not, but I'm willing to go just for Reflecting Kowtow right here. Or not Reflecting Kowtow, Reflecting Bitter Blade. And get a bunch of damage into the Gambit. They go for Sucker Punch to avoid the Reflects. Ooh, they went for Moonblast. That's actually super smart. I thought they were going to Tailwind Kowtow. That's actually really smart of a play. Okay, I might have just got destroyed turn 1. That was a really smart play by my opponent's end. Can I win? Not looking too hot right now. I do think this is a rematch. Like, I do think this is actually a rematch against the first player we played. Do I just go for the blind hypnosis? I think I do. Or I could go Floette. But I'm probably getting a Encore and a Reflect. And I think I have to stay in because I can't let the King Gambit boost up. Yeah, this became really problematic. Good play on my opponent's part. Was there a lead that I had? I guess I would have led Floette this time. Maybe Floette Serperior would have been alright as a lead. Because I can lead it against this team, but the problem is always just guessing if the Gambit has Iron Head or not. Because if it has Iron Head, then I'm a little bit concerned about how much damage I take with Floette. I should live Iron Head, granted, but it's not exactly super ideal. We're going to see the Encore into the Serperior, which is not too surprising. As Reflect comes out, it is going to fail. Moonblast, we can't give this thing a boost, so hopefully not. I do crit it though, which is nice. Oh wait, that's not a crit. Oh wait, this is a different opponent. Ironhead did a lot. I still think we're screwed here though. Yeah, we're screwed here. I can go Wrydeer and I can click Dazzle. Maybe the best play turn 1 was to switch out Ceruledge, click Reflect. I think that was probably better. This is a frail Gambit. They're probably just going to Tailwind Ironhead, but I don't really have a play here. There's like no play that I have really, because I can protect Floette. I think this is just a loss here. I just got to hope that they don't click Tailwind and I survive Moonblast or something like that. Yeah, they click Tailwind, which is always their play here. And Ironhead. Yep. Yeah, I couldn't really do much here. Good turn 1. I think if they lead this, I think I have to just go hard into Floette for the Ceruledge. I just can't really risk Kowtow. Or I guess I could. I think now it's Black Glass's Sucker Punch, so I think I barely lived, but not the Moonblast. Super smart play on their part. I think this is a different opponent just because the last Gambit took like 2 Moonblasts, which I was shocked by. This Gambit was super frail. But yeah. All right, we have Blastoise, Como, Mousehold, Incineroar, Sneasler, and Sinistra. All right. We have a tough matchup ahead of us. This is going to be a tough matchup ahead of us just because it's going to be a little bit hard to remove Blastoise. I mean, Serperior is good in the Blastoise, but like there's redirection with the Mousehold, the Incineroar, and Sneasler we have to play around. Okay, and then Como is also kind of a concern. I think this is just Serperior plus Floette lead. I think Serperior Floette lead is generally fine, or maybe I could even lead Wrydeer, but I don't think I really like the Wrydeer lead here. Yeah, I'd probably just have Wrydeer in the back because the Daily Sneasler Blastoise, I think giving it the Unburden boost isn't exactly pleasant right off the bat. Sneasler Blastoise is actually just a really hard lead here, I think, for the team. I think in the back, it's probably Como plus the Wrydeer. I don't really like Ceruledge in this matchup. It only helps out against like 2 Pokemon here. It can't really do anything into the others. And then my low deck is just against Blastoise Como. Like I click Hypnosis, that's it. Maybe Life Dew for the Floette, but yeah, we're gonna see Blastoise plus the Sneasler, which is not surprising as I lead Floette. At least on the bright side, I can play aggressive here because I know my Floette does live a Dire Claw from Sneasler, so I can just go for a... I'm gonna Glare the Blastoise immediately, and I'm gonna go for Calm Mind. I'm curious on how fast the Sneasler is because that's going to be a big factor. If they're like really fast, like jolly fast, that's going to be a very big problem, but let's find out. Also, if the Sneasler's Gunk Shot, we're cooked because we cannot live Gunk Shot. All right, we see the Mega Evolution from the Blastoise. I imagine this is just fake out into Serperior and Shell Smash, but we'll see. Oh, they protect Blastoise. Okay, this isn't terrible, but it depends on what they did. Okay, my Serperior is faster than the Sneasler, so that's good. They Dire Claw immediately, that's fine. I take that really well, actually. And we get a Calm Mind. Okay. Not awful, not great. Not awful, not great. Does Blastoise switch out or does it stay in? I could glare to Sneasler, but if it's Sash, we still have problems. I think I still glare to Blastoise and I protect the Flood. I guess I could switch out Blastoise into like instant. Yeah, I should glare to Sneasler. Okay. Oh, Mousehold is fine too. Okay, that's not terrible. So we protect the Flood. Is this Dire Claw into Flood? I imagine so. I don't think they're gonna. I think they probably would rather get rid of the Mouse or get rid of the Flood here, but we'll see. Okay, they did. I can keep Flood around, which is nice. They're probably just gonna click Follow Me here. I can finally go out on a Wyrdeer, which is actually good here. Wyrdeer and Reflect isn't terrible of a play. They should just follow me Dire Claw. So I like getting Wyrdeer on the field. Yeah, this is still going to be tough, but this is 100% playable. Oh, it's not White Herb on the Sneasler. It's Sash Adamant then. Okay, good to know. As we get Reflect up. That actually helps us too, because that means that Serperior is always going to be faster than the Sneasler. Dire Claw. Bad sleep. Bad sleep. I can go Como here, I suppose, and just try to go for a Wake Up at this point. They get a Super Fang for free, or they're gonna click Follow Me spam, which I guess is not awful, but Super Fang is definitely worse. I need to keep Serperior around for the Blastoise. Blastoise is too problematic. I might as well get Como in, because Como might have an opportunity to set up against his team. Who knows? Depends on the Mousehold set. I think it's probably Rain Dance for Charizard because their team is really weak to Charizard otherwise. So I think it's probably Rain Dance, Follow Me, Super Fang, Protect. That's my guess on the set. It could have Faint for wide guard situations as well, I suppose. Which would be a lot better, I think, for me. So Como in. They retreat Mouse. Interesting. Into Blastoise. Oh, okay. And Dire Claw. These statuses have not been kind so far. I mean, we go for Clanging Scales. Or do we go for Clangor Soul? No, we go for Clanging Scales here. We need the damage. And I guess we attempt to Trick Room here. Last one might be Sinisha. Oh, it's Rain Dance on the Sneasler. Okay. At least we get Clanging Scales off before the damage. Yeah, that's actually good damage to Blastoise. So Water Spout's not like doing crazy amounts here. Okay. Still gonna hurt. Yeah. Do I get Trick Room up? Nope. Wyrdeer, you had one job. Just get Trick Room up. Unironically though, the game is still very winnable. Serperior plus Flood is still looking like putting up numbers here. We're gonna Psy Shield Bash the Sneasler and we're just gonna go for Clanging Scales. Let's see. The Sneasler's Fake Out, Rain Dance, Dire Claw, probably close combat. They switch out, which makes sense. Mousehold probably coming in. Or Sinisha, that makes sense too. But I mean, I get decent damage off. And like Serperior is actually in a good position offensively. So I get Clanging Scales off. Good damage. I go for Water Spout again, which... Come on. No. Okay. Winnable, but not great. Winnable, but not great. So Floa can come in as well as the Serperior. There's a lot of what if plays. There's like Blastoise stays in or switches out. There's a lot of interesting plays. I could see Sinistra switching into Sneasler and Blastoise protecting. That's probably like the really likely one, I'd say. Actually, would you? Because I could just Moonblast the Sinistra. I could double the Blastoise. There's a lot of places that I have access to. Maybe just Moonblast the Sinistra and Leaf Storm the Blastoise. I don't know. There's too many switch possibilities that they could have. Okay, they switch out the Blastoise. Is this could be Mousehold though. Mousehold makes sense. Okay. I don't mind that because Serperior could still be in a pretty good offensive position to win the game. Leaf Storm does pretty good damage to Mousehold. More importantly, at 2 shots. And Moonblast, I do need the damage into Sinistra because it's like the one Pokemon that like Serperior has tough time handling. So that's good damage. Oh, it's that Leaf Storm tack on the Sinistra. Actually, wait, can I still win? Yeah, I can still win, but it's like really tough. Okay, I have enough Leaf Storms to win the game potentially. I just need to figure out a way to destroy Sneasler. I don't know. They could protect Mousehold, switch to Sneasler, which is my concern here. I think I have to catch the switch. Or I could hope for Paras. Yeah, they do switch out to Sinistra. This should be Sneasler. The thing is, I think I need to target Sneasler too anyway, because otherwise Sinistra gets hospitalized. Okay, I did get the play right, but I don't know if this is enough to win. I think I got a crit to Sneasler. Well, I don't even hit the Leaf Storm, so unlucky. Unlucky. I could hope for a bunch of full pairs, I suppose. But yeah, I think the big part was me getting Dire Claw poisoned and slept. Cause like getting damage off with Wrydeer was important, or like having health on my Oh, I see what they're doing. This should be fake out. Yeah. Yeah, I see what their play is doing. Now they're gonna Shell Smash Dire Claw. Although Serperior might live the Dire Claw, because it didn't do that much to my Floette. So I go for the KO into the Blastoise. Maybe I can win if Leaf Storm... Actually, the Leaf Storm miss might matter now. If I live the Dire Claw, which I think I do, I think I could have won off a full pair on the mouse. Oh, no, I just go down. Huh. Oh, that explains why. I was like, why did that do more than against my Mousehold? And then, yeah. Unlucky. But you know what? We have gotten a bit lucky in the earlier parts of this session, so not that bad. Also, they did have multiple opportunities to click Dire Claw. All right, we have Charizard, Whimsicott, King Gambit, the Garchomp, Floette, and Basculegion. I think everyone's favorite matchup in this format. Well, we're gonna do the same game plan and see how it goes here, but at least I have a line if they lead the King Gambit part with the Whimsicott this time around. The only problem is still King Gambit is really annoying. Mainly King Gambit plus Double Fairy, because normally Floette, like Como, is supposed to be answer into King Gambit, but you can't really do that against Double Fairy stuff. So that's why we bring Wrydeer, because we need Intimidate, we need Trick Room, and we need a Mon that actually switches in the last respect, because otherwise it's going to be a problem. Also, Intimidate the Garchomp's pretty nice for the Ceruledge. Ceruledge is going to be the big component to win this game ideally here, because Ceruledge is just really good into the fairies as well as the Charizard, but it's not great into the supporting cast, which is why the rest of our squad has to be good into the supporting cast. And that includes my Mega Evolution. My Mega Evolution isn't that amazing here, but it is the only Dark Resist I have, and also like way to break through Garchomp. So let's see what they decide to go here lead-wise. All right, what are you leading? Going to be the King Gambit Whimsicott. Okay, we're going with the Reflect swap into Floette play. If they Iron Head, I don't even think it's that bad they Iron Head, because at least I get the Reflect up. So we are going to go for Reflect. And we are going to swap out into our Flood. Then next turn, I think we Dazzling Gleam and swap to Ceruledge. I think that's correct. Oh, now they Tailwind Kowtow. I think it's Tailwind Kowtow. Okay, Serperior is faster than the Ceruledge, which is good to note. Yeah, Flood ate that, which is nice. I just don't know. Are you Iron Head or are you Low Kick? Because it really just depends. If they don't have Iron Head, then they are going to attack the Serperior slot with Kowtow. Actually, no. I would just Encore swap if I was them. If they don't have Iron Head. Do I protect a Floet? I think I do. I don't think there's anything wrong with protecting Floet. Because unless they Encore Kowtow, but I just don't really see it because I don't think they should let the Gambit take damage if that's the case. Let's find out. We protect our Floet here. What are they going for? I think this is Encore. Yep. And Iron Head. Perfect. Okay, we finally have a position. I also didn't want to Mega Evolve because I don't want to have Whimsicott have access to the Fairy or a Moonblast. So now we actually have a position where we can actually Bitter Blade the Gambit slot, and we're going to actually go back into Serperior to catch the Encore. We should live Moonblast into Kowtow after the Reflect is up, and then we'll get some good recovery, and the Gambit should probably be put in Leaf Storm range afterward. Charm. That's a new one. And they crit me. The early parts of this video is going so well, and then this part just stinks. Is there a chance to win? I can Glare, Moonblast the Gambit, I suppose. Okay. Okay. I mean, what can I say? What can I say? These ones have been a bit unlucky. The first loss was pretty fair though. The Sucker Punch immediately was just destroying me. And at least I learned how to adjust afterward. I think my plays were pretty good in this one, but you know, sometimes the game is just like, yeah, it doesn't want you to have fun. I go for Moonblast into Iron Head. I gotta hope for Glare plus Moonblast into... Well, I even get special attack drop too. Can I crit the Gambit? Maybe. Well, I don't even think crit Gambit knocks out because this Flood again doesn't have any investment. Yeah, I did get the reverse crit, but I need a para here anyway. Now they get the Iron Head off. And that is game because they can Encore Whimsicott. So, yeah. That is super unfortunate, but that's how the game goes. That's how the game goes. You know my luck was too good on the streak too. I think for any of the regular viewers, you kind of know it was too good to be true. All right, we see Charizard, Aerodactyl, Garchomp, Sylveon, Basculegion, and King Gambit. King Gambit, Arrow. I mean, it's better than Whimsicott, but there is a Sylveon, and we're not soundproof Como. So, Como not great here. Aerodactyl's also tougher than Whimsicott, unfortunately. Yeah, Aerodactyl's tougher than Whimsicott to handle. It probably is dual Mega, I assume, on this team. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I think I'd probably just lead Flood immediately. I think Flood's pretty good. Is this like Sash Gambit with Iron Head? It might be. I think I just lead Flood plus Serperior. Because what's the worst lead that they could lead? Charizard, King Gambit. I could always Light Screen or Reflect swap to Ceruledge, so it's not awful. Yeah, that's probably my play here. I need Wyrdeer for Intimidate, Bask, and Garchomp answer. And then I think I need Ceruledge because I need a Charizard answer, but I also need a decent amount of Ceruledge. That isn't Como because Como just loses to... I mean, it loses to Sylveon, but also Dual Wing Beat also is going to hurt from Arrow if they decide to bring that as their Mega Evolution. So let's see what they decide here. Aerodactyl, Sylveon. All right. As I lead Flood Serperior. This isn't a terrible lead. It's not a great one, though. Because Dual Wing Beat's kind of tough for me to switch into. My play is probably just a Calm Mind swap here into Wrydeer, getting Intimidate off. Because I don't know, this is Tailwind plus Hyper Voice, Dual Wing Beat plus Hyper Voice. They could Rock Slide, but I really hope they don't. I think you have Dual Wing Beat and Tailwind, which are better options. Okay, yeah. They do go for Tailwind immediately, which is fine. I didn't Mega Evolve my Flood because I don't want to take the extra damage from the... Ooh, Sylveon has Yawn. Okay. Good to know. I'm fine with that, though. Because even though I might have to swap out my float the next turn, I don't think that's too bad. Obviously, I could have got like a Moonblast off, which would have been better, but I want to cover Dual Wing Beats Hyper Voice, because that means Float wouldn't have taken as much damage. Let's go to Ceruledge and let's go for a Trick Room. And then we can start bulking up with our Ceruledge, I think, which is pretty reasonable. Ooh, they Wide Guard to cover for Dazzle? I don't know about that one. Okay, so they don't have Dual Wing Beat, which is actually good to know. They go for Hyper Voice, which is fine. Wrydeer takes a decent chunk, but granted, we're still in it. And we do get the Trick Room setup. Okay. So I don't think I need to really go for Hypnosis here. I think I'd rather just break a potential Sash, because Wide Guard probably assumes it's Sash. I guess it could be Mega, but still, I think Bulk Up is just such a safe play here, and probably just go for a Psy Shield Bash, because then I'd live Rock Slide into Hyper Voice, it looks like. So I'll go for a Psy Shield Bash into Arrow and Bulk Up. They protect Sylveon, that's even better. They're giving me opportunities to set up here, which is fantastic. So go for the Psy Shield Bash into the Arrow. Actually, 2 shots to Arrow, which is funny. And get a defense boost guaranteed, which is nice. That's actually, honestly, for a custom animation, because like Psy Shield Bash is like Wrydeer's signature move, that wasn't really impressive. Okay, now we can get a Bitter Blade off into the Sylveon, and the question is, what am I doing with Wrydeer? Am I going for a double up into the Sylveon? I might go for a double up into Sylveon. I think so. I think I'm going to Psy Shield Bash, and I'm going to go for a Bitter Blade. Because this should ensure the KO. I don't think Bitter Blade would KO with Charcoal, depending on how bulky the Sylveon is. So I'd rather just go for the Bitter Blade plus the Psy Shield Bash double up. KO the Sylveon, where the Hyper Voice is really annoying, while the Rock Slide's not doing that much damage. I get a crit that was definitely not mattering at that range. So Sylveon goes down. And we're going to see the Rock Slide come out, which is fine. Tailwind peters out, but I think we're in a pretty good spot. This should be Gambit, or is this Bask? If this is Bask, I'm going to go for... Did I just Psy Shield Bash and Shadow Sneak? Probably. Curious which Mega they brought here, if they chose to bring a Mega. I assume they did, but Bask is coming in. Okay. I'm just clicking Shadow Sneak plus Psy Shield Bash. I guess they could have Protect, so another play I could do is just Gravity Up if I want to. Or I could Psy Shield Bash the Arrow, which is also another reasonable play here for me. You know what? I'm going to Protect, and I'm going to Psy Shield Bash the Arrow. I don't know if the Arrow protects, because I think they would be scared of me doubling up the Basket Legion more than targeting the Arrow here, but let's see. Okay, Psy Shield Bash into the Arrow, takes a knockout. I could have taken a knockout on Bass, but you know what, we'll take it. Another defense boost on the Wrydeer. It's really tough for them right now. Last Respect's gonna come out into the Ceruledge. So we don't know if it's Scarf. Is the last one Charizard? It is Charizard, okay. Did I just go for Hypnosis here? I feel like my best play is just to Shadow Sneak into a... It's either Shadow Sneak... Actually, Shadow Sneak Psy Shield Bash is pretty reasonable. No, I Shadow Sneak Psy Shield Bash. Because if it's Scarf Bask, it goes down to the double up. If they have Protect, then Charizard gets a KO on Wrydeer. That's fine. But then I get a free switch as Trick Room's over. And I get a free switch into like one of... the Floette, and I could double up with like Moonblast plus Shadow Sneak. So I think that's pretty reasonable here. Shadow Sneak, good damage to Bask. Only way it's annoying is Citrus Berry. It's not Citrus Berry, thankfully. Psy Shield Bash should KO, I'd assume. Perfect. Goodbye, Bask. And now the Charizard should not be able to beat the Ceruledge. So super ideal turn. Now this turn I can go for... I think I just go for damage no matter what, right? Go for Bitter Blade, go for Side Shield Bash. I could go for Hypnosis too, but I don't think it's really necessary. They're gonna play it out, so maybe they have a move that can hit Ceruledge. Is this Ancient Power Zard? It could be Ancient Power Zard, I suppose. We'll find out. Or they're going for Solar Beam Crit, which I don't know if it KOs the Ceruledge here. They go for Heat Wave, but Flash Fire on the Ceruledge pretty much just makes them immune. Wyrdeer Void, so Wyrdeer being the GOAT in this game. Bitter Blade gonna come out into Charizard. Look at that damage, man. That is some great damage. Goodbye, Charizard, though, because Wyrdeer will claim another KO. That's like, what? 3 KOs for Wyrdeer? You know what? We'll take it. We'll take it. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, power of Wyrdeer Ceruledge. So how was the team? It's a really weird team to pilot. It's just always the experience when using a team built by Jamie Boyt. We have used several teams on the channel that was built by Jamie Boyt, and it's definitely been an interesting experience. There's no one who really builds teams like Jamie, but I do think there were some really cool parts. I think Serperior is an underrated mon in this format, and I do think the screen set is still pretty nice, and Glare speed control is still fantastic across the board, even though there is a Charizard format, but that's where Ceruledge does help out, of course. Wyrdeer, I think, is a really cool Trick Room setter that, of course, just really unique into Basque. It's just really bad into King Gambit, so if you have enough King Gambit hate, then Wyrdeer can put in a ton of work, but of course against Basque Legion, it is actually pretty solid of a mon, especially in the Basque Legion plus Sneasler. And then the rest. We didn't go for any Gravity Hypnosis setups, unfortunately, but I do think Wyrdeer was able to put in the work at least on its own right. But I feel like a lot of the games was influenced by RNG, whether we had good RNG at the beginning and then bad RNG towards the end, which is kind of made it just hard to be able to gauge a team. However, I do think the team did have like quite a few tools and was pretty fun to pilot because it was definitely a different experience than a lot of the other teams that we commonly see. If you would like to try out the team, there is a paste down below in the description, and I assume that Jamie will probably make a video about this team, so I will link his YouTube stuff down below in the description, so be on the lookout for a really cool team report, I assume, from Jamie coming out sometime in the near future if it's not already out by the time this video comes out. And of course, you could check out the rest of my content by subscribing to the channel for more VGC content as always.